today we had to gather up the 300 ewes in the vet's field at the very far end of the farm and bring them all the way back to the farm using Gray, Flute and Jamie. So Flute is the youngest and her father is Gray, and then Jamie is the grandfather. So this is us in the vet field. So Flute gathered them up. There's that sheep at the very back there. She gave us trouble all the way around. I could tell as soon as I gathered them that she was going to be trouble. So I sent Flute on a left-hand outrun there, and then I think it's about here, I stopped her and turned her back out to tell her to gather the whole field. And Flute's just kind of what we call knocking in the corners, so going from one edge of the flock to the other just to keep them tightly grouped. So you can see the sheep are slowing up just as they come up to the gate. So then I just asked Flute to put a little bit more pressure on so that they come out through the gate. So there I'm holding her back and saying steady, you know, you don't want them jamming through the gate. So here I know that the sheep are going to flow all the way through up through that field. Except for that straggler at the back there. The Ewan's role was he brought the trailer along to pick up any casualties we had along the way. Me and Ewan work really well as a team, possibly because we're polar opposites of each other. I'm very fast and efficient and get the job done really, really quickly, and Ewan's very particular and gets the job done well. So we kind of come to a middle ground, which is the job done well and quickly. I really don't want the sheep spread out in a massive bunch. So I send Flute down here to tighten up the bunch. But I could see here, one of these sheep was not happy at all. So I just told her to hold on. Sometimes if you take the pressure off them, they'll rejoin the flock and be fine. But she had had enough. So I thought, I'll just grab her and I'll stick her on the back of the bike. That was my theory. So she's walking backwards at this point, which is always a sign that they're done. And then I got her just up to the bike here, and then she just played dead. Sheep just do this kind of thing when they get absolutely exhausted, they just play dead. Obviously, I can see as well that this ewe's carrying triplets, so they're draining all of her reserves, and there's probably not much left for her. At this point, all the dogs kept on jumping on the bike. I was trying to get the dogs off the bike because I wanted the sheep on the bike, so I'm trying to lift her on the bike, and it just wasn't really going to plan because she's so heavy. With carrying 3 lambs, she probably weighs about 65, 70 kilos, which is a little bit more than what I weigh. But I got her on and thought, right, the dogs can just run. And then at this point, I'm thinking about the rest of the flock. So I'm trying to hold on to that sheep. It's not ideal, but I know that the trailer's in the next field and I can just pop her in that. Yeah, the sheep's a fair weight, and especially with the 3 lambs in. But for all she's playing dead at the moment, the second she thinks she might be able to get away, she will just come back to life. This was a dicey moment because I was like, is she going to play dead while I shut the gate? Or is she just suddenly going to come back to life and run down the field? Look, good girl. We're just going to go and see if we can grab these sheep. So these are a group that have just got onto the shore. Boy. You see that green flat bit that's coming up on the right there in the rushes? Quite often they'll break across there and then you'll have to restart and grab them all again. See that they're going up onto the green bit there? So I just send a dog to go and stop them. So at this point I asked Gray to jump the wall, just because sometimes they just do like a hairpin turn here, so they come out of the field and then turn and run straight back up the road again. So I was just kind of preempting that. I think at this point they're just like, yeah, we know where we're going. Come by, come by. Obviously Flute's making sure they know where they're going. Look at them, they look brilliant. At the end of a long working day, we feed our dogs. The dogs always stay in great condition on CSJ. Everyone always comments about how the dogs have good energy, nice coats, and it is true that they recover really well after a long day's work.